Until the time that I made 1-star, we'd never had a female 1-star general, much less a 2-star in charge of the Air Force. And I attribute the opportunity to have the jobs and do well in those jobs, to be able to be at that position, to much of the education and the opportunity that I had here at Purdue. I can't believe that I've had the opportunities that I've had. As was mentioned, I'm retiring after 31 years. In the support career field, so we need civil engineers at every installation. So I've been all over the world. I've had 17 different assignments. I've moved 17 times in that 31 years, and it's been a fantastic opportunity. Other than my first assignment, I've pretty much volunteered every place I've wanted to go. And it's just made a huge difference in seeing different things, seeing different parts of the Air Force, different parts of the world. Because I like to tell people, you're filling up your toolkit. The more experiences you can have, the more that you can relate what you see and what you do. And it's the sum of all those experiences that I think help me be a better problem solver, because I have more tools in the toolkit. The first is the value of systems thinking and how important that is to problem solving. And you're getting a great degree to put that to use every day, whether you know it or not. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at problems from that standpoint while my counterparts are looking at it simply from their little silo. And that's where I think IEs bring such great value to any organization, is the way you approach problems and the way you look at things. So keep that in mind. I think as you look at opportunities, you're going to recognize things that maybe your counterparts may not. And if you think about it, before we had written form, before we had writing, how did our ancestors communicate? They communicated with stories. Your work, your designs, the things that you're going to have an opportunity to do can be communicated in that way. So your customer, your boss, your client is going to have a good way of remembering, hey, this guy gave me a pitch on this idea, and if you've got somebody that you're trying to get backing for your idea in terms of money, it's going to make a difference. So the whole point here is, although you're engineers or soon to be engineers, I would argue that some of the most important classes you're going to take are those that train you in an ability to communicate. And it's a skill that you're going to use over and over and over again. The first part was systems thinking, the second part was communication. This is about the value of critical thinking. Asking the right question is oftentimes the most important thing that you can do as you're trying to frame a problem, as you're trying to think about, what is it that we're here to do, and really listening when somebody's talking about what they need. And I think sometimes as you're doing your classes over the next couple of years and you have opportunities to do designs and different things, think about the problem that you're trying to solve and think critically about it. I think you're going to come up with better solutions, and I think you're going to come up with maybe perhaps a more effective or efficient way of doing things because you're asking the right kind of questions. Intellectual curiosity is absolutely essential. You can't always pick what your boss asked you to do, but as long as you're giving it your best, I guarantee your supervisors, the leaders in your company or your organization, they're going to pay attention and they're going to recognize the talent and potential. And sometimes the opportunity is kind of hidden. You may not think that somebody's evaluating you for your ability to make a presentation or to do other things, but there could be a reason why somebody gave you a project or gave you a problem to solve. It's because they want to observe, they want to see your critical thinking, they want to see your problem-solving skills. So do the best with what you have, and I have only seen good results come from that. In whatever you do, sign your work with excellence, and there's kind of two components to it. The first is there's a lot of very menial work that sometimes you may be asked to do. That's the kind of attitude that you look for. He's signing his work with excellence. I've had to be a project officer, building notebooks, doing very menial things that you might think, well, hey, I don't need to pay attention to detail on this. But people are noticing, and your attitude and your approach to that rubs off with folks. So whatever you're asked to do, you're putting your signature on it. Every time I put my signature on something, it's representing me. It's representing my background, my values, my beliefs, and what I stand for. So it represents you. And if you're willing to sign just about anything, that you start to lose your credibility. You start to lose some of that which sets you apart if it doesn't reflect your best work and doesn't reflect what you believe. The school experience has continued to advance, and you have no idea how marketable and how much in demand Purdue IEs are. Every time I've left an assignment, and certainly now that I'm about to end my career in the Air Force and look back on 31 years, it's kind of my yardstick for success. Because in the end, if you can say that in some way, shape, or form that your service has mattered, that you counted, you stood for something, and you helped make a difference, you helped leave it better for the people who came behind you, then to me, that is a huge measure of success. And so I leave that with you to think about as you go forward. You're going to have a great opportunity both in your time here at Purdue as well as when you leave and you graduate to matter, to count, and to make a difference.